And then when I got a little bit older, I talk about this all the time, Saved by the Bell. I was just absolutely, I was a kid, but I was just absolutely into that show.
Favorite character?
Obviously Zach and Kelly.
That's 2 characters.
But it's like
It's also 3 shows.
Who doesn't?
You're listening to the Inside PAC podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Ian. Welcome to the PAC podcast. This is Inside PAC. This is a chance to take a look inside at what's going on here in our team and to be able to ask questions, which is what brings us together today. So with me, I've got Pastor Emmanuel Jean-Pierre. How's it going?
Doing good. Doing good.
And we've got Pastor Jenn Hong. How are you doing?
Good.
It's good to have you. And then, did I forget anyone? Oh, I did. Here we have Pastor Dawie Koekemoer. Welcome.
Hey. Good to be here.
How are we doing today? Are you excited?
Good.
I heard earlier this is the first podcast for each of you. Is that correct?
It is. That is correct.
Okay.
First of many.
First of many. Yeah, that's great. So Pastor Emmanuel here, for those who don't know, this is a young adults pastor here at PAC, and Jenn, family life executive pastor, and then Dawie, Sunday experience team executive pastor. So we've got the team together. If you caught it earlier, we did put out a chance for you to be able to ask questions that normally wouldn't get time on a Sunday morning. And so we have talked in the past about how that would make a lot of sense for our podcast. And so now that's what brings us here. So there's some of you out there that put questions in. We've got a list to work through. We're not going to be able to get to all of them, but we wanted to be able to take this time to be able to talk through what some of those things are. You guys ready?
Yep.
I think so.
Yep.
I think so. So this first one here is going to be starting off on a tough one here. So we've got the age-old question of, are you a coffee or tea person? And then tell me why.
Starting heavy.
Yeah.
Tea.
Coffee.
Definitely coffee. Milk, 1 caramel swirl.
Yeah, Duncan especially. You
Am
have
I
to
allowed
like
to say
know the
Duncan?
language. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we can say that.
Every day.
Yeah.
I'm not bougie enough for Starbucks, but if I do, flat white.
What is flat white?
Oh, it's good. It's good. I don't know. I'm not a barista, but
I've never
it
heard
is
that
flat
before.
and it's white.
I gathered. That's interesting. Yeah, tea all the way for me.
Tea all the way.
You don't ever drink coffee?
I've tried it like once or twice.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't.
Wow.
Gosh.
Prayers.
To answer your question, flat white is mostly espresso, but with a little bit of frothy milk on the top.
Huh.
So
There you go. Not a latte.
Okay. Lattes I'll do.
Less milk than latte.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like a matcha
But
latte.
latte is in the coffee categories. So to say
Is
you've
it?
only had one or two, but you
This
have
whole
latte-
time is
them out.
latte.
Yeah.
Call
them
like
out. Frappuccino?
I feel like lattes are like the Staten Island of coffee. Like technically they're there, but they're not really.
but they're still considered coffee.
Okay.
So how many lattes do you have?
I mean, not
3 a
every
day.
day. Not nearly. It's
How many
like
times a week?
not weekly.
You're a coffee
Not
drinker.
weekly? Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, it's like monthly, maybe.
All
Okay,
right,
okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're not a coffee drinker.
Pumpkin spice tea, coffee. Are you guys pumpkin
I love
spice?
pumpkin spice
Mm.
lattes.
Yeah, as we're recording this, it's getting into PSL season. So
Yeah.
we're
I'm
on-
very.
we're on board? We're on board.
Am I on board?
Yeah.
Yeah. I judge people who have it
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, once September
before
hits,
September. Yeah.
it's totally valid to
If
have
you're
a
in
pumpkin
August,
spice.
Yeah.
Pumpkin
Yeah,
spice.
agreed.
Mm-mm.
That's like Christmas songs in July or something.
Or in November.
In
Like
November.
no.
Yeah.
Save it for December.
Save
First
it.
day of class for me, and now first day of school for my kids. That's my tradition. First day
Okay.
of school
Oh,
is a
nice.
pumpkin spice latte.
Mm.
That's really
So you've had it already?
Today?
No, like this month.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
cool. Well, that was, there's a lot of conversation to be had around that topic. As you can tell, it's pretty important for people.
Mm.
Now, the next question I would ask you is, what is like your favorite worship song that you have on rotation right now?
Ooh, I love that song. Okay, I want to answer this. So there was a group, I don't know how long ago, called Addison Road.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And one song is What Do I Know of Holy?
Yes.
And I've been listening to that on repeat lately. And it's an old song, but it's just, she sings the words like, how can she possibly fathom the holiness of God? And it's a beautiful song. And that's been on repeat for me lately.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
I didn't know that anyone knew that.
I know that.
I did not.
But now,
Now I do
tonight.
today.
What do I know of holy?
For
gotta
me,
look it
Lord, I lift your name on high.
Oh,
I'm just
classic.
kidding.
Oh, my
I'm just kidding. It's
You know.
No,
trauma
no
from
that
judgment.
checks
That's
with
a
you,
classic.
from the 90s. No, there's one
Shout to the
called
Lord.
Shout to the Lord. That is a good one. That one will never get old.
Those songs are coming back too.
Not Lord, I lift your name on high. With emotions, right? I'm not. No.
There's a video out
Some
there
things
of
need
him
to be put
dancing
to rest,
that
and that's
song.
one of them. But I love that my number one right now is called Feet of Jesus, and I don't even know who it's by, but look it up on YouTube. Feet of Jesus.
Manny, do you have anything to
Yeah, mine is "Oh, the Glory of His Presence" by Jesus Image. I think it's technically like it's older. What'd you say? Were you singing it?
Jesus Image, yeah.
Yeah. I found it by accident somehow, and then it was just
I love that.
just the lyrics, but also just musically.
Mm.
It's just I've just been playing it on repeat lately. I don't really love
What's the
that.
name again?
Oh, the Glory of His Presence.
Very cool.
That's what I like about YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Is it'll
Yeah.
give you some. Oh, that looks good.
It's that algorithm.
That is
Could be dangerous though.
that For You page.
Hey, so the next question I was going to ask you is, do you have a favorite childhood TV show?
Yes.
We're really getting to know our pastors right now.
Uh-huh.
You know,
What age?
Okay. So for me, I know Disney's Gummy Bears. You remember that?
No.
I'm old. This is like
Gummy bears.
Gummy Bears. It was medieval. It was awesome. It was
But they were
good.
gummy
It's on
bears?
Disney Plus.
It was medieval.
Yeah,
What was the premise?
it was so cool.
Like-
No, you
like,
just
like
watch
medieval
episode one.
times, like knights
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Lancelot.
But they were
Yeah.
gummy bears.
But not actual gummy.
Like Haribo?
No, they were bears that could bounce and jump. It
Oh.
was so cool.
Oh.
Also, because I'm from South Africa, so some people know David the Gnome. Have you heard of that?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Oh
so
my
in
gosh.
South Africa, it's Dawie Koekemoer,
Okay.
and that was my nickname.
Same plot.
Oh.
Same thing, just in Afrikaans.
I still remember
And
the
so-
episode where he has to go up all those stairs and he needs like special shoes. Do you remember that? Anyway, some of those
Vaguely.
episodes are like ingrained in my mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Dawie Koekemoer.
that's so cool.
That was your nickname?
Yep. And the kids would sing the song, Ek is Dawie, when I walked by. So
Did
You
you
had a
like it
whole
or not
Wow.
like it?
no,
Oh,
there's a
sorry
whole
for that.
story behind
there's
that.
a lot of trauma there.
oh man.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Oh, man. Anyways, Manny,
The first show that came to mind was Rugrats on Nickelodeon.
Mm.
That was a classic. I loved. I wanted to be Tommy Pickles, and like
Interesting.
pull screwdrivers out of my Pampers. Like,
We were not allowed to watch that show.
Really?
Along with a long list of many others.
why Rugrats?
I don't know. I think because the girl was a brat,
Angelica?
Angelica. Oh.
and that I would become
Influence you?
her.
I mean,
I was
they
a little older though.
They
I was
were
older,
troublemakers for sure.
But yeah, Ninja Turtles no, Power Rangers no.
Oh wow.
That understood. Power Rangers. I was told not to because
Oh.
violence.
Oh wow. I watch that like every day.
wow.
Captain Planet no.
Captain Planet. No.
I did still watch it.
No
but-
about the no for the environment.
Yeah.
Right. No.
Oh. All right. Earlier show was Rainbow Bright, and then Eureka's Castle. And then when I got a little bit older, I talk about this all the time, Saved by the Bell. I was just I was a kid, but I was just absolutely
Yeah.
into that show.
Favorite character?
Obviously Zach and Kelly.
That's two characters.
But it's like that's
It's also 3 shows.
who doesn't
there are 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, wow.
it was different developments of my life.
Oh, that's cool.
Darkwing Duck, anything on
nice.
like that
Tailspin,
afternoon.
Chippendale. Can we talk about Chippendales, which are not squirrels, they're chipmunks?
right?
But because yesterday, you want to tell us what happened this weekend, Pastor Jen?
Oh, we really want to go into that?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay talking about it.
Please do.
So we had a crazy storm a few days ago. I think most of us in this area got hit by it. It was like 30 minutes. And then that was like maybe 3 o'clock. And then at 6 o'clock, my husband's like cleaning up all the debris. There's a fallen tree in our yard. And he like comes into the house. He's like, I need you now. And I come outside and he's like, there are baby squirrels outside. And he found 3. And I've never heard the sound of a squirrel before, but they were like crying, and there was actually 5 of them. And so like
And
I'm
he
like,
was like, here, you take care
they
of
were
them.
on the ground. He's like, I don't know what to do with them. He's like, I completely entrust you, make whatever decision and you do whatever we need to do. So first thing I did was like, I called wildlife, and they were like, there's nothing we can do until like later. So long story short, I became a squirrel foster mom for about 24 hours.
Wow.
I brought them in. I Googled. I joined squirrel Facebook groups. Like I fully committed. I kept them alive all night. I kept them on a heating pad. I figured out the exact recipe and ratio of the exact water they should be drinking. Only 4
commitment.
made it, but the 5th one
Out of what?
out of 5. But the 5th one was passing when we found it. To be
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Condolences.
yeah. I mean, that one was already slowly
man.
starting to pass.
I'm having like visions of Snow White, Cinderella, and the animals. And
Well,
did you sing to
do,
them?
do you see me as an animal nurturer? Because
Oh,
not
boy.
everyone does. In fact, some people seem to be surprised that I would care for the poor and helpless animals. Do you want to unpack that for us, Pastor?
I just didn't know that you would have. I didn't realize you would have gone that
That you would have
far.
compassion.
No, I know she has compassion. I wouldn't have known she had gone that far, did those lengths to it. I was impressed and surprised.
Well, your
Very
wife
impressive.
was very impressed as
She
well.
was,
and
she
She
was.
thought I
She-
fulfilled the biblical
She
mandate.
did. She
Amen.
said you like had a whole dissertation she was writing about you.
Moving on.
This is unhinged.
Just as a side note, I was not a cable kid growing up. So many of these shows,
Yeah?
I have no context.
What do you mean, not a cable kid?
He
Like,
didn't have
Exactly
only
what
like the
it sounds
basic
like.
channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PBS, man.
No judgment,
Oh,
by
no,
the
I
way.
still don't-
That's
I'm-
totally
didn't grow up
okay.
here.
I,
had two
I wasn't
channels.
I wasn't until like middle school.
Yeah.
I
Us
thought he
too.
meant like Netflix only, but
How
I'm just
No.
trying to.
how
understand
young do you
old-
think he is?
I don't know.
we did have Nickelodeon, but we didn't have Disney. And so whenever I
Yeah,
would go to a house
same.
with Disney,
Yeah.
it was like the wealthy folk.
Did you hear the theory that like depending on which channel you watch as a kid, like your personality, they can predict your
I don't know.
personality?
We had an Afrikaans channel and an English
Oh.
channel, and then the rich people had MTV, which is
Oh wow.
No, I never heard this theory.
Like Cartoon Network, like you're absolutely unhinged. and
Okay.
Mm.
Were you Cartoon
Makes sense.
I
Network?
was not.
Okay.
That
I
makes
didn't have it. Disney Channel, you probably like think you're the main character, but you have like really great
Mm.
taste in music, probably.
Interesting. Okay, Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon, it was like a toss up, like depending on if you like the Nickelodeon cartoons or the Nickelodeon live action.
Okay.
And I don't remember what the conclusion were for both of them.
What about the WB Frog? What if
Oh,
you watched
gosh.
that?
Next
Oh,
question.
It was like CW.
Well, that was fun. I feel like I learned another side of each of you. Hey, do you mind if we jump into some more serious questions at this stage?
Yeah, please.
So not to say those aren't important or serious questions, but we do have some questions from everyone out there. And one of those actually is about salvation. And so his question is, what are the pastor's views on salvation? Is free will an aspect of our salvation, or is it dependent on God's electing love shown toward us? I just want to let that simmer for a second. And then whoever wants to jump in and take this, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Okay, so that's not just one podcast episode. That is like a series. I mean, the amount of books that are written and libraries filled debating this question are numerous. And so I would say, as a denomination and as a staff, we don't have we don't have to pick one or the other. There's a huge spectrum here, right? So on the one end, you have like your 5-point Calvinists, or even maybe further than that, people who believe that everything that happens is because God makes it happen and he's the chess master. And the other end of the extreme is deism, which is God he made the clock, wound it up, and let it go. And it's like, you're on your own. Good luck. And so I don't think any of us are on either of those extremes. We're not as a denomination. Because I can show you 5 verses and you could go, oh my gosh, free will, Arminianism, 100%. Like it's clearly there in the Bible. And I could show you 5 verses that are like predestination. It's so obvious. It's right there. And so my personal stance is God's ways are higher than ours, and thoughts are beyond our thoughts, and we'll never quite fully understand this. Some of us may lean more one way, some of us may lean more the other way, but we believe in, this is not one of those core issues where we all have to agree on this to be like in the family. There's some freedom here, some difference of understanding, and we feel like that's okay. God's just, it's not going to make sense to me this side of eternity.
Yeah, I think, I hope it's not like a cop-out of an answer, but I think some of these things are beyond our capability to understand. I think it could be a both and that doesn't make sense to our finite minds. I think there's only a certain amount that we're able to understand on this side of reality, and I think same thing. I think you could argue both sides very easily, and that's what theologians have been doing throughout church history, and here we are. So, yeah, it's one of those. I used to wrestle with this a lot, especially like when I first started in ministry, because I wrestled with like kind of the question of like, what's the point in doing ministry if it's kind of pre-elected, already determined and chosen, and of course, like some are elected to minister, but it just you kind of get really lost in like the control piece, and I think there's an aspect of it like we want to know. We want to know what's going to happen in the same way like we want to know our kids are going to be okay. There's just so much that we want to know and understand. And I think the hardest part in the obedience is like, okay, but I'm not going to. I'm just not.
One illustration I like is someone drew once like a two-dimensional character. Like if I drew a two-dimensional character on a piece of paper, and like I'm his creator, we'll call him Larry, right? And Larry's on the piece of paper, and I'm outside of the paper, and he can't understand everything outside of the paper. So I can draw a wall and another person on the other side, and I can put my finger on both Larry and his girlfriend, even though he can't see them both. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm outside.
It's a completely different reality.
It's a completely different reality, and so he's not going to understand things that are three-dimensional because he can only see like this.
Yeah.
And so there's things of God that we're just not going to get. And he reveals to us as much as we need to know.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing is that you would talk to Larry in his limited world.
Yeah.
Like you would create opportunities for Larry to understand you. Like you don't have to do that. And I think that's the beautiful part.
Am I allowed to take a stance on? No, because
can we cut this out later.
I believe so. Let me check.
Yes.
Because I do agree with you guys that yes, obviously there are things of God that we will not understand. And I'm not pretending to understand like the actual the black and white answer to this question. But I do personally lean more towards the free will. Like even with the Larry, like if you created Larry and you're talking to him, what have you. For me, what makes me lean towards free will is that God actually gets upset, like in the Bible. Like genuinely gets upset, like when wickedness happens and he flooded the world and what have you. And like for me, that wouldn't make sense if he was making everything happen. It's like, why are you getting mad at the stuff that you made happen? Like you're getting mad at Larry. It's like, but you made Larry do that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, like, you know, that could still be wrong.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think on the far extremes, there's not a whole lot of people in those extremes, hopefully. But yeah, because Scripture says, like, we should pray that God's will be done because it's not being done, right?
Yeah.
God desires that no one perish. So
if my people do this, then I will do this.
Yeah.
So if I had to answer, if I were being candid, I do lean more towards free will as well. But I just kind of, I'm not even sure what that means at the end of the day or what we'll understand. But yeah, if I had to answer that question.
Yeah.
I'm Larry.
Hello, Larry.
I thought you were David the Gnome.
Well, I think that was important that we brought that question up. I know there's plenty of people have known for my life that have been wrestling with like really needing to figure out what the answer is. And I think collectively what we're saying is a little bit more muddy than that. And that's just kind of the reality that we've found peace in, even as a movement of churches too. So thank you for submitting that question. To move on, if you don't mind, someone asked, I'm wondering what is the best way to approach someone who is completely closed off to even the thought of God. You know, I guess you kind of have to make an archetype in your mind of who are you talking to, you know, as you answer this, because I don't know where this person's coming from exactly or what their situation is, but maybe do you have personal stories? Do you have thoughts about, you know, if you're talking with someone who is just not interested in the idea of even, you know, the idea of a higher power, you know, if you're talking to someone who is just kind of analog, atheistic in their approach, you know, do you start with telling them what you think, or do you have a relationship? That's facetious, by the way.
They're looking at me. Well, when I hear that question, yeah, the question is the person like antagonistic against the gospel? Is it like, I hate, you know, or is it apathetic? I just don't care. Because I know people, and I've witnessed to people that are antagonistic, and I actually think that those people are often much closer to receiving the Lord, because for them it's real. Like they're wrestling with it, they're wandering, they don't like it. It's a defense mechanism. Like this is getting uncomfortably close. God is getting close, and so it's like, no. It's a little bit harder with people that are comfortable and doing well and not thinking about it, and you know, like, I just don't care. So maybe there's a God, maybe not.
Right.
But just a story on the antagonistic side. So my wife Amanda, that leads worship, when she was in high school, there was another student in her class. It was like I forgot what class it was. Not a religions class. And one kid was very antagonistic and would always bring up just anti-Christian stuff. And she would always just raise her hand and defend. And I guess the rest of the kids were like, oh, here we go again. But like 5 or 6 years later, he found her on Facebook and messaged her and just said like, hey, thank you. I'm a Christian too now.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, it was just
That's
cool.
incredible.
So to that point of like, sometimes people will be antagonistic because it's getting close.
Yeah.
But she was just herself and faithful. And I think with either person, that's what you do, is just be yourself, love the Lord, you know, build a friendship. Tracts work, sure. Inviting someone to church works, great, but build a friendship and talk about God like he's a real part of your life, you know, and they'll get to know you for who you are. You don't have to hide that part of it. If they're curious, they'll ask questions, but just, you know, talk about God like he is real, because he is.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely say too, like, don't try to force it down to them. Like, especially if they're antagonistic, and don't try to, you know, like, here's a 45-minute sermon that you have to watch because of what you don't believe. But building that relationship, being that consistent friend to them, and showing them that you're there for them, because inevitably they're going to be going through something, and now you'll be able to show them the love of Christ in the midst of that season, and that will potentially open the door down the line, as opposed to you just trying to smack them across the head with the Bible.
Yeah.
Have you tried that though?
No.
Do not recommend personally.
Not recommend.
I think my thing is just don't have an agenda. I think if your agenda is to prove them wrong, your agenda is to like, oh, I got someone right. Like at the end of the day, like obedience and a faithful life, that should overflow in your conversations, in your service, like when they're going through something, right? Because I think even sometimes we're like, oh, here's a non-believer. Let me see if I can convert them. I'll be kind so that. And I think there is an aspect of preach the gospel with word and deed, but that really needs to overflow from where you are in your heart posture with the Lord already versus like, I got one, you know? And so I think the most beautiful conversations I had with someone was like, I want what you have. Someone said that, right? And it wasn't me preaching to them. It wasn't like they just saw something. Like I remember one time I was getting my tires changed, and the cashier said to me, she's like, I don't know what it is, but there's just like a bright light around you. And Like, do you just carry that? Because if you carry that, then I think those are the opportunities, or the people in your life who are antagonistic or apathetic can become curious. But the more we have an agenda and like we're trying to prove people wrong, we're trying to prove to them like their way, their religion, whatever it may be, them denying God, is that really, I don't know, is that honoring the Lord? Is it honoring them? Like, is that loving them?
That's a good, Or do you love them? Is it
Yeah,
out of love
right.
and compassion rather
Right.
than...
Competition and I'm right, and
That's really good.
so it's hard.
And even the people who seem apathetic, there's the iceberg where there's
Yeah.
a lot underneath that, Scripture says that God put eternity in people's hearts. And so I
Yeah.
even think of one person
agree with
that I've, known for a while, and just friendship, and we've tried to have some spiritual conversations, and one time over dinner with a couple drinks, and do not recommend, this is not a evangelism strategy, but his defenses were down a bit, right? And
Wow.
and started asking questions. And so you just be ready. Like, if we are a temple of the Holy Spirit, he lives in us and he loves them. So just be that.
Yeah.
It's really insightful from you guys. Thanks for spending some time talking through that. I know that this person's probably got a story behind why they asked that. Any of these people who put in questions, we know that there's probably more to it, and it's not as simplistic as maybe even we make it sound. So just want to respect that. But let's move on here. We got a question recently. Someone was asking, how can we emulate Jesus' dignity in the midst of worldly suffering? So how do we endure suffering with grace and obedience? Is there someone who would want to get started on this question? Very simple, right? Just, just...
Can you go back to the fun questions?
So we've got
Coffee.
sneakers or dress shoes. Just kidding. No, let's go. Scratch that. How can we emulate Jesus' dignity in the midst of worldly suffering? How do we endure suffering with grace and obedience?
So maybe one question at a time, the emulating Jesus' dignity. I think that's a very relevant question. I think whichever your algorithm reads, you're going to just see endless amounts of suffering headlines. And I think it's so hard because I feel like we've gotten into a trap of pointing at people and saying the way that they're emulating Jesus is wrong versus like we're all trying to figure it out regardless of what our convictions are, values, politics, all those things. Like everyone is wanting, in my opinion, or at least I hope most people are doing it because they want to. And I don't, so to that, maybe this is another cop out. I don't know if there's a black and white answer to that either, right? Because your sphere of influence and how people receive love and how people receive your care is going to be different than someone else's sphere of influence. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And can you answer then? Tag.
What was the second part?
So the second part of the question here is how do we endure suffering with grace and obedience?
That's great.
Which I think is kind of part of the first question,
And we have a
is that
sermon
Jesus'
coming
character.
up soon on that.
Yep.
But
Yeah, if
just
you're listening in September when this comes out,
Yeah,
the sermon coming up.
one thing that comes to mind for me is I think it was C.S. Lewis who he described a house, and he said there's two different groups of people that live in this house, and they have different expectations of what the house is meant to be. And so one group expected the house to be a hotel, like a 5-star hotel, and they're all disappointed and grumbling and like, where's the butler and what, like they're mad because the house is not the hotel. And then there's another group who expected it to be like a correctional facility, and they're like, oh, this is pretty good actually, like this is nice, I have my own room, and and so what is our expectation of what the world is meant to be? Do we expect it to be perfect in heaven already, which we're not at? Do we expect it to be training ground in some ways? And so it's very easy to talk about suffering sitting in this chair, right? When I don't know everyone's situation. But on a high level, Jesus tells us that we are going to have suffering and to meet him in that suffering, right? Paul talks about knowing God in resurrection and in pain. And for me, I think it's just a little bit easier when I don't expect this to be heaven yet. That's how I've endured, is like, this is a temporary time. I'm here because I'm growing, I'm being molded, I'm being changed. James says to even count it joy when you go through suffering. Why? Because something's being produced. It's more that vision or that expectation of this world is training ground. It's for a short while. Yes, it's going to be hard, but something's coming out of it, and I have that hotel to look forward to. I'm not there yet.
What was the exact wording of that question? That second question?
So the exact way that they worded it was, how do we endure suffering with grace and obedience?
Grace and obedience. Yeah, I listened to a sermon similar to what Pastor Dawie is saying, and they were going through a season of grief, and they said, grief is not going to happen in the kingdom of God. And they said, so this is an opportunity where I can honor God in something I'll never be able to in the kingdom. Like, I won't have an opportunity to worship God in grief because there's no grief. And so if we see each moment as like, this is a temporal thing, and it's so hard, like in the moment, it's so hard to be like, okay, well, let me just use this as an opportunity. But if we just go into life thinking, okay, every moment here is a result of where I am right now. And this is temporary, and I can honor God with grace and humility, were those the two words? Obedience, and just knowing that it is temporary, and there's something, I really do believe this, I think that there's something God is teaching us through almost everything and anything. I think there's always an opportunity to press in and ask the Lord, what are you teaching me? Like another preacher that I love says, never ask God the why question. He's not going to answer it on this side. Ask God, what are you teaching me? That's something that he will reveal. So,
But did he allow it to teach you something, or is he teaching you something?
don't do that.
And we go back
do
to
that.
Back
our
into
first
predestination. No, I'm
do
just
that.
joking. I'm just joking.
I think one of the encouraging things about this is that Jesus himself went through suffering as well, and that he, like, I'm thinking of even him in Gethsemane, like right before he was arrested, where he's praying and he's stressed and he's asking the Father, let this cup pass from me, but ultimately ends with like, not my will but your will. And even the fact that he had family, like he had John the Baptist get killed, and he didn't have, but John the Baptist died and Jesus didn't bring him back from the dead, and so he weirdly knows what it's like to lose a family member and go through that pain and not be able to see them come back. And so in a weird way, it's comforting to me to know that I'm praying, I'm in a relationship with a God who knows what that suffering is like, who knows what it's like to not have easy answers, that knows what it's like even ironically, what it looks like to not have your prayers get answered in those moments. And at the end of the day, that in a strange way gives me comfort knowing that, all right, you know what this is like, you know what this feels like.
He's even seen friends of his come to life again, and so he's wrestling with like,
John
God.
the Baptist would be awkward.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to piggyback off the Gethsemane, because one thing that, I've talked about this before, but I fully believe Jesus prayed that prayer with no expectation of that being fulfilled, right? Like, he knew, I am saying this prayer knowing that the Father and I and the Holy Spirit have already agreed on the final plan. And that was a full moment of like, Father, I'm just being fully transparent with what I want because I trust you, and I can tell you anything I want regardless of the outcome. And so even more so, like, again, like that was a moment that Jesus had an intimate moment with the Father when they were separated. Never going to happen again, all of eternity, right? Like that one moment he was separated, they're together, seated at the right hand, right? And so, like, to that point, like that is a significant example of like Jesus in the moment of like knowing his prayer wasn't going to be answered the way he was asking, knowing that it was going to be like the worst thing ever, chose to like have a tenderness with the Father of the universe. Like, that's just incredible to me.
Just the idea that even Jesus would take on the experience of a person, knowing that he's still God on earth.
Jesus became Larry.
Whoa, I think we're going really meta all of a sudden. But yeah, well, again, that's one of those questions that we say the word suffering. We're sitting on couches here.
Yeah.
You know, like trying to recognize that suffering can mean a lot of things. So whatever it is you're going through, we just want to recognize it's hard and it's easier said than done for some of this stuff. So, but we can say that we believe suffering is for now and not for later. And that's the big thing that we can lean on. So thank you for asking that question. Hey, anything else we want to say before we wrap up? Anything on your mind?
No.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. Hey, if we could bring the camera over here. Hey, if you are tuning in and this is recent, we want to let you know that we do have community groups out there that are open for you to be able to join in on. So if you're looking to find more connection in our community, those can be found on our website. We would encourage you to find a group of your own that would be fun to be a part of. If you have questions like these, if you want to just be a part of activities together with people who are similar stages of life, we'd encourage you to check those out. Hey, but that's been all for today. So I want to thank the team that's come here to discuss these questions. Thanks for taking the time and for leaning in. We appreciate it, and maybe we'll have you on another time. All right?
All right.